Conversations and storytelling helps us connect with each other, teaches us relatable life lessons, and helps us define who we are as humans. This podcast is focused around women from all walks of life, how we grow, navigate, impact the world that we live in to tell the often untold story. The Rise of Woman is a story of loss, growth, triumph, inspiration, fabulous failure, and all in between. Warning, in this podcast, there is cursing and adult content.
Hello, my name is Nanez. I am 50 years old. My zodiac sign is Taurus. Today I feel powerful, and you are listening to LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast.
That's Nanaz. And in this episode, I will have a candid conversation with a woman who is an entrepreneur, an innovator, a cancer survivor, an immigrant, an educated woman, a mother, and so much more. Oh, y'all, this is going to be a good one. So I have Nanaz with me. I've known her for about a year and a half. We worked together pre-opening a hotel. It was a new experience for both of us, and we spent a lot of hours together doing nothing. And so I learned a lot about you and your kids and your family and your journey and just life. And as a human, you just inspire me as a person. And so when I decided to do podcasts, like, you were one of the first names I wrote down. And actually some of the reason I am doing the podcast is because these stories that I hear from my friends that are women like you, and I was just like, God, everybody just needs to know your story. So how'd you get to the United States if you were born in Germany?
Well, it's a funny story. It shows you how spontaneous I really am. Mm-hmm. I was engaged to a German boy.
I didn't know that.
I was engaged at age 20. I was engaged to this boy, loved him, Torsten. I still love him, but not like that. But anyway, we drove my Volkswagen Bug to Amsterdam with my best friend.
You drove what?
My Volkswagen Bug. I had one of those Beetle cars.
Oh, what did you call it?
Volkswagen.
Oh, a Volkswagen.
It's really Volkswagen, but okay.
Okay. Excuse the hell out of me.
But anyway, we drove that. We skipped school. We drove to Amsterdam, and we had a picnic with my best friend and him, and we had magic mushrooms. It was my first time doing mushrooms and my last time that I ever did mushrooms. And what happened is I took a look at him, and something about the way they looked at each other freaked me out, and I said, you guys slept together. And they admitted it because everybody was fucked up at this point. And he cried and he was like, I'm sorry, baby. We were both drunk at a party. It happened once. We feel bad and guilty. And I was like, fuck you and you. I am out of here. So I get in my car, and I'm really, really messed up. I had never done mushrooms before.
How old are you?
I was 20.
Okay.
And it was a circle drive. And I don't know if you've ever driven in Amsterdam. The circle drives aren't as simple as the circle drives here. There is a circle for bicycles. There is a circle for buses, there is a circle for train, and there is a car circle in the middle of all of this. And each one of these things has their own lights up on top. So like, it could be a red light for the car, but the bike lane is green. It could be red for the bike, but the bus and train it's very complicated.
Well, how do pedestrians?
There is another one for pedestrians. I mean, it is complicated. And when you're fucked up, it's even more complicated. So I kept driving in this circle and passing them as they're waving at me. And finally, after 20 rounds around the circle, I got out of the circle. And I drove to a gas station and I called home. And I was raised with 18 boys. So I was like, this is going to be bad because somebody is going to chew my ass out, but I can't drive home. I am effed up at this point. So I call home, and of course, one of my brothers chews me out. What are you doing in Amsterdam? It's a school day. What are you, blah, blah, blah. I'm coming to get you. Where are you? I don't know where I am. Okay. The gas station attendant tell the guy where I am. I sit there for 2.5 hours until my older brother shows up with another brother, and they pick those two up from the circle, and one of them drives me home and one of them drives them home. And the next day I go to the American embassy. I get a visa for being a student, and I come to San Diego to go to college. I was gone within a week. That's how spontaneous. I had no plans of coming to America.
Wow.
I was just like, I'm not staying here. And my mom was like, okay, why don't you go study? Like, go to a university. I was gonna go like to a trade school that was for 3 years and become a beautician, where you make creams and shit. Like, it's amazing. It's an amazing program, and that was gonna be my life. But because he did that, I just wanted out, and I left within a week. I was gone.
I did not know that.
No, nobody knows it.
Wow.
I mean, he knows it. My mom knows it. A few people know it,
Yeah.
but that was just what happened.
Wow.
That's how I ended up in United States.
Okay. So you went to University of San Diego. Did you fall in love in school? Like, what happened when you got here?
I went to community college there because I had to learn English. I didn't know any English when I moved here. I had obviously German. I speak Farsi, and in Germany I had taken French in high school.
Okay.
Because I took the train to Paris all the time, and they weren't friendly if you didn't speak French. So I always was interested in learning French. I took French for years, and then I got here and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know any English. So I had to enroll in like a community college, get my English together. I had 4 months to learn, and then I moved here to Austin to go to an actual university. And over here is when I fell in love. I was dumb. I got married, all that stuff. And so I'm stuck here now.
So I really didn't know that's how you got here. So what, you always say this, it's so funny, y'all. We would be at work and girls would be talking about marriage.
I think it's totally unnecessary. I think it's maybe it made sense when it made sense, but now there is not even a freaking tax benefit to it. So what's the point? You can have a life with someone, and it's kind of like a contract, and everybody freaking breaks it, so why even have it?
Did you get your heart broke in your first marriage?
I definitely did. I was totally in love, and when you say I do and he says I do, you're dumb enough to think it could, that's it, it's forever. So I never thought that like at 40 I'll be single, and going out on dates with other people. Like, that never crossed my mind. I was madly in love with my husband when I got married. So it's definitely been an experience that made me grow. Yeah. So, that's my thought on marriage.
Tell me something that overwhelms you.
Really, not much overwhelms me, honestly. Like, if I'm totally honest, nothing overwhelms me.
Why?
Because I've been through so much. I have learned not to get overwhelmed. Like, it just doesn't happen. I don't get stressed. I don't get overwhelmed.
What kind of stuff have you been through?
My divorce was really tough because I felt like I'm in an ocean. I don't know where the waves are coming from. I don't know what's under me. I don't know what's above me. I don't know what to expect. And I felt like this person that at the time that I got divorced, I had spent half of my life with this man, and I felt like I didn't know him at all. So if I don't know him, then I don't know anything. So that was kind of a tough thing to go through. And that experience I also went through cancer, and that made my cancer be like a walk in the park. And it was a stage 4 breast cancer with mastectomy and chemo chemo, radiation, the whole schmeal felt like a walk in the park compared to my divorce. So after my cancer, nothing really stresses me out. You can throw anything at me and I'm fine.
So was there ever a moment in your marriage where, or even in life, where you just like felt super like oppressed about something?
Yeah, the last 8 years of my marriage was like that.
How long were you married?
I was married for 16, but I was with the same guy for 22 years.
So when you came to the States, you met him when you moved to Austin.
Yeah.
Right when you moved to Austin. And got married shortly after?
I got married a few years after.
Because you were here on a student visa.
I was here on a student visa. But yeah, I married him and I stayed because he wanted to stay here. His family is here.
And so I'm assuming the best thing out of your marriage was your kids.
Absolutely.
Nick and Ava, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely the best thing that happened to me in my life is my kids.
Yeah.
But do I recommend that people have kids? No.
I knew you were going to say that because you're always like, I love my kids, but don't have them. Would you rather be stupidly rich or crazy in love?
Stupidly rich.
What would you do with the money?
I have no idea, but most likely I wouldn't have a flashy life of something. Like I wouldn't have a mansion and all these cars. Well, I of course will get a G Mercedes. I mean, that's a given. But I would most likely just travel the world and see the world and probably not do really anything positive with the money. Just
no investments?
I mean, it depends how crazy rich. Am I Oprah Winfrey rich? Or do I just have a few $1 million?
Crazy rich.
Okay, if I'm crazy Oprah Winfrey rich, then I might do some work. Set up some charities. Some charities or like a homeless shelter named after my kids or something like that. But I honestly would just
homeless
travel.
Shelter named after your kids? That's what we get?
Probably.
Okay. So what would your last words be in life? If you could pick your moment to die, what would your last words be?
Value your time.
Why do you say that?
Because it's really, honestly, when you think about it, you can be crazy rich and spend your money and make more money or lose more money. But with time, that's it. You get 46,300 seconds deposited into every day. And once you spend it, it's gone. The next day, if you're lucky and you wake up, you have it again. But once you spend it, it's gone. It's the only thing you can't earn more of or... So don't waste it. That's all you get. And you don't know when it's going to stop. The clock is going to stop at some point, and you don't know when. So don't waste your time. Do what you want to do. Say what you want to say. Live the way you want to. Don't wait for this thing to happen. Don't wait for this job to happen. Don't wait to have this. Don't just fucking go for it, because that's it.
Fucking go for it.
Go for it.
Cheers to that. Yes, go for it.
Ching, ching.
Ching. If you had 24 hours to live, just like in the movies, they're like, what was that movie with Queen Latifah? And she was like working at some retail store and she goes to the doctor and the doctor,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And the machine had this.
The vacation or something.
Yeah, okay. So what would you do with, let's go with the week.
Okay, so it's super stupid, just like that Queen Latifah movie.
Okay.
I would go to Paris.
Okay.
And there is one store in Paris that has all these 1920s dresses that the actors actually go rent out. It's a rental place. You can't buy it. You can only rent the dresses.
Okay.
And it's like those beautiful beaded dresses that have all these things on them, and it has a sticker on everything with photos of actors that wore it. I mean, like Faye Dunaway shit. Like, legit. I would go into that store and try on everything and just stay in that store. Take a bunch of wine and stay in that store and have fun.
What wine?
What wine would I take?
3 wines.
I'll tell you one, but it's totally worth it.
Okay.
I would buy the Silver Oak Cabernet Sauvignon 2012 or 2013.
Okay.
It is like freaking melted candy. That's what I would drink.
That's what you take with you?
That's what I take, like a case of it.
Okay. And that's what you would do?
That's what I would do.
Is try on dresses and drink wine.
Yeah.
And your final words would be to value your time or something like that. Yeah. So, okay. I'm feeling you on this. You are listening to the LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast. That's LRI Let's Talk on Instagram. Hit me up and DM me with your comments and questions. What's something that triggers you?
Stupidity.
Okay.
Like, I can't handle it. I'm like, oh my God, you're stupid. Get out of my way.
And I've heard you say that.
Yeah.
You're very blunt. You're very direct. And just learning this stuff about you. So tell me something before you moved to the United States that is so profoundly different here than it is in Germany where you grew up.
You want to know about Germany or Iran?
Oh.
Because I also, I think one of the things that I saw that changed me as a human happened when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
It was the Iran-Iraq war, and my country was getting bombed.
Yeah.
And going through hearing the bomb alarms go off, going through electricity being cut off, going through hiding under staircases or in bathtubs as a kid, kind of totally changes the way you see the world. Before then, you think your parents have all their shit together, they'll take care of you, nothing bad is gonna happen to you, you're a kid, happy-go-lucky, get your bicycle, break into this little yard that has pomegranate trees, get the pomegranates, eat them there's no consequences, right? You can do whatever the hell you want, it's all safe. But once you experience something like that, then it totally changes the way you see everything else. And I think that was the most profound thing that I've gone through in my life.
Do you remember like that moment where you didn't feel like a child anymore?
Yeah, it was that moment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In the first bomb alarms going off, or was it?
Well, you hear the bombs dropping. You first hear the bomb alarms, which means there's bombs coming.
Yeah.
So then you start being scared.
Yeah.
And then your mom is scooping you up, taking you under a staircase, and you're all like under blankets, just waiting you don't know if you're going to live or not.
Right.
So,
because the staircase technically wouldn't have helped at all.
Yeah, but that's what you had.
Yeah.
You either had a staircase or you had a bathtub, whatever. You go into what you think is a shelter.
Yeah.
So I think going through that definitely changed the kind of human I am now.
Could you hear them dropping? Like,
yeah,
what does it sound
absolutely.
like?
It sounds just like you see in the movies.
Like that. Yeah. And you said you were 8 years old, so
I was 8 or 9.
How'd you end up in Germany?
We basically escaped. We sold everything we had because the war was going on. As you know, the Iran-Iraq war went on for like 10 or 11 years or whatever. And we just had to leave. Like everyone who had something to sell sold it and left.
But you were born in Germany?
I was born in Iran.
You were
raised in Germany.
And raised in Germany.
Well, I consider, because I don't have much memories in Iran, just a few years really.
Yeah.
If I sit there and think about my own memories, not what somebody else told me, I don't have very much of it in Iran. So I consider Germany home because that's where my high school friends are, that's where I went to high school, and that's where happy memories happen. So I feel like my home is Germany. But when I do go to Iran, I have this connection to the country, to the humans, to the land,
Right.
So
I don't know. So like when I was I always meet these people that have all these memories of when they were children, and I'm like, where the fuck do you remember that from? I don't remember a lot of stuff. I like flashes and points in time. I don't remember like a lot of stuff. And some people are like, yeah, I remember when I was 3 and did it. And I'm like,
yeah, that's like,
where the hell did you get that from?
Exactly.
And so I'm of the mind, if I ever like have dementia or something or blah blah, I'm gonna be okay with it because I've always had a shitty memory. Like if I'm dating a dude and I remember 4 things about you, we're doing good and I'm halfway in love with you at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Because like I'm so bad at it, and like I don't think I considered myself like a selfish or a self-centered person, but like the more I think about it, I'm like I zone out a lot. I definitely feel like I am somebody that listens to comment and doesn't listen to hear and understand. So like that's my thing that I'm working on as a human, because I believe like always self-improving and all that kind of bullshit. And so like what's your thing that you're like doing right now, self-improving, whatever? Because I know you're dating.
I am dating, and I was dating and I met this amazing guy, and you know, I was like getting all vested, and then I was like, whoa, wait, you know, he's dating around, and he told me, you know, give it all you got. If you're truly looking for your, you know, last partner, hopefully, then you have to go out on dates and put yourself out there. So I am putting myself out there. He was right. I don't know if it's self-improving, but I just try to enjoy every minute of my life that I can. I try to plan for tomorrow, but not over-plan. You know, I'm trying to be flexible and open, and yeah, your heart gets broken, but then again, every time it breaks, it opens up more. So I'm not afraid.
Deep.
I'm not afraid. Thank you, Rumi. That is from Rumi. So yeah, I'm putting myself out there, which is not like me, like I normally don't, but I am trying new ways.
Tell me your new strategy on these dating apps. So Nanez and I are both like using dating apps. We'll leave names out because they're not paying me. But so we're both using dating apps, and our strategies, I guess, are different but similar. But tell me your strategy that you just started.
My strategy is this: if you didn't say anything in your bio, then it's a left swipe, because you didn't take time to say anything.
And so if you don't know, which everybody should know, but left means no, right means yes. So
yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm like, if you didn't say anything, I don't care what you look like, or if you're posing with a nice, beautiful Maserati, I'm gonna swipe left because you didn't say anything. Now, if you said something that catches me somehow, I'm gonna swipe right, no matter what you look like. That's my strategy. Because I'm like, look at what my type got me. I'm single. And I'm going to be 50 next month. So I decided that if you say anything remotely that interests me, I'm going to swipe right. I am going to offer to meet you for coffee, to make sure you're an actual real person and not with the army thousands of miles away and you need 400 to come back to me because you love me so much. So you gotta be ready to meet for coffee or goodbye.
I mean, basically. But it's working. Like she's meeting like lawyers and doctors and business owners.
But the cool thing is that when I swipe on these people, I don't know what they do.
Right.
I'm swiping because they said something super interesting.
Right.
You know,
which is what matters, but it is also a bonus that these are grown men that are working, and I mean, none of us have our shit together, but they're holding their shit in their bag.
This guy that I have a date with tonight, he didn't really say very much in his bio about what he does for a living or what his status is or anything, but he had said that he would go to dinner. And you can pick anyone, dead or alive. And he had picked Winston Churchill. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I want to be at that dinner. So I swiped right. And he is amazing. It's my second date tonight. I have no expectations of any kind. It's just nice to go out and meet people and make friends, if nothing else, you know.
Would you get married again?
When?
Would you?
Would I?
Get married again?
I think if it was completely just up to me, it would be a no. But if the guy is insistent on it or it means something to him, I could be convinced if he has a good argument for it. You know what I mean?
So it'll definitely be a negotiation.
It'll be a negotiation. Like if it really means something to him because he's never been married or he really wants to say this is my wife or some crazy reason he must have that to feel secure in the relationship, I'm not saying that I will never do it. But if he's just like me, which I hope the person that ends up with me is got some similar foundation, then he wouldn't really care. And if he doesn't care, then I would like to not ever get married again. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't hold up or do anything. The way I feel about marriage is the same way I feel about religion, but that's another podcast.
You look at Nanaz and she's like 49 and has great olive skin.
Aww.
You do. No, you look great.
Thank you.
You're gorgeous, but it's true. Because if you weren't, I'd be like, girl, I'm so glad you're rested and you're looking good today. But no, you look amazing.
Maybe invest in some Botox.
So how do you describe your relationship with your mom and then your relationship with your daughter, like the generational thing? Does your daughter have a relationship with your mom? Like, how does that circle work for you?
It's a really tough one for me because my mom was always away from me, doing her own thing. I was kind of on my own for so long. So I don't have that deep mother-daughter bond that people have. And in some ways, I feel like it's a blessing, and in some ways, it's kind of painful. So it's kind of a fine line in the middle. My daughter, I'm basically looking at it as a job. My job is to make my daughter independent, and the less attached she is to other people, the more independent she will become. See what I'm saying? Like, I'm preparing her for adulthood. Mm-hmm. I'm making her ready to be on her own and survive in this world, So that's my job as a mom. I'm trying not to be all mommy kind of person with her.
So do you think that comes from your relationship with your mom?
I think so, because I feel like because I moved away, it made me realize that, I need to be independent. I need to stand on my own feet. I need to, survive in this world without mommy's shadow.
And so how'd your mom end up in the United States, particularly in Austin, particularly in your care?
Well, she is like a gypsy, really. She's moved a bunch from country to country, continent to continent, and she ended up here because her grandkids are here. And then my dad passed, and she's kind of stuck here, and she has health issues. She's not, in the best shape. She needs care. And so she's my neighbor, and I take care of her.
Oh, she's your neighbor?
Yeah, she lives less than a mile away, walking distance to my house. So I'm her daughter.
Yeah.
Of course, I do things for her and help her out. And I'm proud of her. She's like taking Uber to go to places.
Oh, she started taking Uber?
She's using an app, and she doesn't even know how to unlock her phone, but now she does. She's learning and becoming more and more independent, but still, she's very dependent on me for help.
Yeah. What is your mom's relationship with your son and daughter?
I mean, it is good. She doesn't see them as often as she would like. But every other weekend when they're with me, we definitely make time to go see her or do something with her. So I say it's good.
Tell me about your passions and your purposes and your businesses and all that middle.
Well, I think my businesses, I was lucky. I flourished every business I ever started. And I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. But my favorite has always been food. It's what brings people together. It's what brings cultures together. It's what makes you grow as a human and bond to people. So my passion has always been food. And I've been fortunate and lucky to be part of some food trucks here in Austin. I had some concepts that I did for others. And, it's been fantastic. And now I'm in food business. And I'm hoping that till the end, I be in food and beverage somehow.
How did you find out you had cancer? How did you tell your kids about it? What was that whole process like?
So it was Mother's Day. It was a Sunday. I laid on the couch after the kids had done all the things for me, and then I touched my boob, and I felt like a ball inside my boob. And I was like, I probably bumped it because I pick up these cases of like Fanta and Mexican Coke and all this shit all day long. So it was like I probably bumped it, but it felt like there was something inside. And then in the morning when I was trying to put on my bra, like one boob didn't fit into the bra at all. So it was like there's something there.
It was too big?
It was too big. Like it was not overflow, it was just too big. It wouldn't fit in the bra. And I was like, there's something going on. And I called my doctor and she said, come on in, let me feel it. I went and she's like, yeah, there's something in there. So the next day, which was a Tuesday, I went for a mammogram. And in the middle of the mammogram, they were like, hey, the radiologist, the doctor would like to come and finish this mammogram himself. And I was like, okay, there's something wrong because it's not a technician anymore. And then so that he came in and he did it, and then he goes, you know what, you're here, let's do a sonogram. And I was like, oh shit, there is something.
Yeah.
And so then the sonogram was done by a technician, but then he came back in and finished it, and I was like, okay, what's going on? He goes, there is a mass. There's a mass, we need to do an immediate, like the next day, we need to do a biopsy. 3 biopsies, actually. I go, okay, so Wednesday I go for a biopsy, and I tell them, you know what, I'm a hemophiliac. You can't just cut me. I'm gonna freaking bleed all over the place. And they're like, no, it's a super thin needle. You're upside down. There's like these plates that squish your boob, so it's under pressure that you will not bleed. I go, okay, great, let's do this. So they do number 1. They flip me up. They remove the pressure, and it's like a Freddy Krueger movie. There is blood gushing out of me, hitting the ceiling and the walls. Like that's how much they had with a hole
thin needle.
With this thin needle. And so there was blood everywhere, and they're like, oh, they call 911 because I'm at a facility.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm at a facility, so they call 911, EMS comes, they do 45 minutes of pressure until it stops bleeding, and the next day you could see their finger marks all over my chest, like all 10 fingers, because they did compression. And it was crazy because they told me it was Wednesday, and the next day was my birthday. Actually, on Thursday was my birthday, and they said this can take the result. We're not going to do the other 2 because obviously we can't put any pressure on the boob anymore. He's going to start bleeding again, so we'll just go with that 1 biopsy, and it takes about 4 or 5 business days to get the results. Next morning at 9 a.m. my doctor calls me and says, you have breast cancer. It's a 7.5 centimeter tumor in your chest. And I go, okay. And then she goes, it's a stage 4. We need to move on this like quickly. We need to do bilateral mastectomy. You need to go see an oncologist and all these things, like just on my birthday. And I was like, holy shit, no, but it's happening. So I didn't say anything to anybody. I was like, I need to take it in and figure out what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, what is going on, what's the plan. I need to know the start, the end, the whole thing before I do anything. And I went and talked to the doctors, and they were like, yeah, we have to do a bilateral mastectomy, and then you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks for stitches to heal, and then we're going to do chemo, radiation, all of that. And I go, okay, when is the surgery? They're like, we can do it like within a month. It needs to be done within a month. I go, all right. I book a flight to Paris. I book a flight to Paris. I go to Paris for 5 days to kind of clear my head, to absorb what's happening, and put my words together. And then I came back from Paris, and I told the kids, I was like, hey, this has happened. This is the size of the tumor. I'm going to do surgery, chemo, radiation, all of that, and I'm going to be okay. So I did all of that, and I straight up told them, because I didn't want to have to, I didn't want to lie to them. It's going to help them as well to grow as humans, because you can see that life is dandy-dory and all peachy, and then something can happen. So I wanted to be honest with them, and I was honest with them. Now, I did tell my son that, hey, I'm going to lose all my hair. And then I lost my hair. I put on a wig, and I wore a hat. And he came home, and I said, okay, I want to show you what I look like without the wig and without the hat. And then you decide how you want me to come pick you up from school. Like, it'd be your decision. At home, I'm going to do what's comfortable to me. But when I pick you up or drop you off from school, I'll do what you want.
What's comfortable to you? What was comfortable to you at home?
Completely bald. It was beautiful. I loved it. I loved every moment of it, actually. But I told him, and I showed him, okay, here's mommy with the hat and the wig. Do you like it? Here's mommy with just the wig. And here's mommy bald. What do you want? And he was cool. He was like, you can come bald. I don't care. And I was like, all right, that's good. And I wanted Ava to see that hair isn't what makes you beautiful. Hair isn't something of substance that you should worry about or think about. It doesn't matter.
But often in society, and I'm not even going to say the United States because, you know, it's everywhere, hair is what defines, especially women, and they're attached to it, and it changes people's attitudes.
This is completely true.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, like, that when I was bald, I got more compliments from men about being bald. They would even joke with me. Like, one guy was bald, he was putting gas in his car, and he goes, "Hey, we go to the same barber." And I was like, yeah, bald is beautiful, you know. And I understood why all these bald men have convertibles. It really feels nice to have wind hitting your head. But anyway, like, I got more compliments from men, and the way the woman looked at me was fear, because they felt like, oh shit, what if this happened to me? You know what I mean?
But
the females looked at me with fear. The men gave me compliments. And for me, I felt so comfortable bald. I mean, I wore a hat when it was winter because it was so damn cold. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the time, I mean, for 7 months, I walked around completely bald. I didn't cover anything. I didn't wear a wig. I didn't deal with it. And it was so easy. You just get up and go. I mean, it was beautiful, you know, and such an easy life. And I felt empowered, and I felt beautiful, and I didn't care at all.
Why'd you grow your hair back?
Well, I mean, I'm a woman, and I missed having hair.
Okay.
But when I didn't, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Okay. So, woman, let's talk about our boobs.
Uh-huh.
So, because I've seen your boobs.
Oh, yeah.
You showed me.
I show them to people who are like, what do they look like? Here, boom.
Look, for the record, it wasn't me that asked. It was our great friend, the crazy one.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I've seen your boobs. How did you go about your reconstruction? Was it traumatic for you to lose your boobs?
So I'm going to tell you this. Like, I had big breasts before. I had double D's. And I did breastfeed 2 kids. So they were kind of saggy, big boobs. And I always felt like, oh, I can't wear those cute bralettes. They're so big. But, you know, I think the biggest shocker was you get used to what you have. Even if you don't like it, you're used to it. They move a certain way. You sleep a certain way. They're cushy, whatever. You're used to it. You know how to dress yourself in, you know, whatever you wear. You know what kind of bra to buy, all these things. And this is how you see yourself every day for 40 plus years, so you're used to it. And then suddenly you have a bilateral mastectomy, and with me, because of being a hemophiliac, they had to do a quick surgery. It wasn't, oh, let's put extenders in you, get the right size for you. I told them, don't let me die. Save as much skin as you can and put in whatever fits, and let's be done with it. And that is exactly what they did. When they opened me up for the mastectomy, they put in whatever fit. They sewed me back up, and that was that. It is weird when I see myself naked and these things don't move, and if I sleep a certain way, they hurt because I have scar tissue under it. But it's made me look at body parts differently. Like, I don't feel like that defines beauty anymore, you know.
Are you enjoying what you're hearing? Follow us on Instagram at LRI Let's Talk.
When you're younger and you just have this specific thing and you think this is what's going to work, and you find out it doesn't, and it blows my mind, because the guy I'm talking to right now, he's nothing like my typical guy in air quotes, but he's exactly perfect. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, you're the one, but not really. I don't know that for real. And I'm not even sure at this point that, like, I'm actually ready for a relationship, because in my head now I'm at the stop point, because we're coming up on 1 year of my dad's death, and I'm like, God, the last guy I was with was the last guy my dad met.
I know, that's so tough. That's where I was too, where I'm like, oh, if I let go of this person, my dad met this person, and then someone new comes, my dad didn't meet that person. It was so hard. Like, Dan was my last relationship, and I was like, oh my God, if I let go of him, then I'm going to be with somebody at some point. I'm not going to be alone. I'm going to find somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be somebody that my dad met.
Did your dad meet Dan?
My dad did meet Dan. Very briefly, like not even a decent conversation, but he met him, and that meant something to me.
It may not work forever, but it's fun having somebody around that I'm not just like, oh, he's so cute, and I'll make the rest work. It's more like he's a handsome man, underline man, like, and I enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to be over that hump. So I guess thinking about that, what's like a hump in life that you've gotten over as far as like maturity, and you were like, I'm glad to be there. Finally. That thing you were looking forward to
I
doing.
think it was definitely bouncing back after everything and like buying a house. For me, I felt like I'm a grown up now.
You just bought your house. I love it.
Yeah, I just grew up last year.
Yeah.
Last year, May, I feel like, I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I think I'm an adult. I have a house and I feel stable and, I have a home. That made me feel like I've gotten over the hump because I lost everything in my divorce.
You got everything?
I didn't lose it. I walked away.
You just walked away?
I just walked away. I was like, I'm done. Keep all this. I'm not fighting for, a house or the car or the little we really had. I was like, just keep it.
What impression do you try to give people when you first meet them?
I don't try to give anybody an impression. I just be me. Life is too short to try to impress people with an impression. Impressions aren't usually real. Just be who you are, and I really don't care if anybody's impressed or not. That's not my job to impress somebody.
What impression do you think people think of you when they meet you then?
That I'm a bit arrogant. I have been told that they feel like I'm an arrogant person, but then they talk to me and they're like, oh my God, she is down to earth. She's real. She's a real person. I think that's how I come across. They look at me. They look at maybe the way I don't know, maybe they look at my purse or they look at my car or they they judge something. People are pre-programmed to judge you with the first look they give you, but then once you meet me, you'll realize, oh no, she's not this stuffy, arrogant person. She's a real person.
What's your favorite thing about yourself?
What's my favorite thing about myself is definitely what I've learned. It's who I am now. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I don't beat on myself for things. I don't obsess over things. I'm pretty easygoing in every way. Like, I get my cake and I eat it too. And that's beautiful.
Or croissants.
or a million croissants a day. And I don't really care what's happening behind me because it's my butt. I can't see it. Who cares?
I'd rather be direct, upfront, forward than the whole song and dance around. Like sometimes people will be talking to me and I'm like, what do you want? What are you really saying? Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want, what you need, and let's get to it. And so I always appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have anything random you want to tell me or any thoughts that you want to give?
No, I'm glad you had me here. I mean, I can talk to you for 20 hours and we will never run out.
No, we'll never run out of anything to talk
never
about.
run out. But it's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Well, it's been really, really, really nice talking to you. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. I think we're going to go shopping after this. I'm a little hungover, so all good. I need to get out. It's a beautiful day. It's, I think, the 3rd or 4th official day of spring, so it's beautiful. Thank you for listening, as always, everybody. Once again, my guest, Nanaz, that I've known for about 1.5 years. Amazing woman. And as always, tell your story, be your own brand, live your truth, and stand in your moment.
All right, you all. My name is Nanaz. I'm still 50 years old. I hope you all had a great day and you enjoyed listening to my story as I live my truth and stand in my moment. on LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast.
Have you ever looked at somebody or their circumstances and wondered, could I forgive somebody that betrayed me in such a deep way that it affected the rest of my life? And could forgiveness just be something that was natural? Next time, Anne will be sharing her journey and telling her story on the LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast.